What's going on, guys? It is your favorite podcast crew here. I am Jake, joined by my favorite co-hosts in the world, Gage and Luke. And this is, of course, your favorite podcast, the Totally Unqualified Podcast. So, Gage, Luke, how are we doing today, boys? Are you excited to get into it?
I'm always excited to get into it. And I'm actually still currently recording from my phone. I know I mentioned the laptop and all the new tech and everything last episode, but my webcam was a piece of junk. So I returned it and I ordered another one. Well, I ordered it to have, shipped overnight because I wanted to have it to be able to mess with it, make sure that it was going to work so that when we recorded today, everything would be fine. I got an email from Amazon and it was one, they take a picture of it and show you that they put it at your door. They took a picture of it. It's not my door. It's not at my door.
Nice.
So, and I live on a state park. I think I've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
So it's at a door somewhere around here. I can tell by the door itself that it's, one of the buildings on the park. I just don't know which one. So it's somewhere. I'll either find it or I'll get my money back, but we'll figure it out.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How they mess that up?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of understand because when I put in the address for my cabin specifically, it kind of gives people the runaround a little bit. Like it's not as specific as you'd like for it to be in a GPS.
Doesn't go straight to like the house or
one of those. But at the
deals.
same time, I feel like they just kind of said fuck it and just like put it at a building. So
yeah, that's usually what happens when they get paid like dirt. You were mentioning your new tech. Mention your new drip. Who you got on right now?
Oh yeah,
Gage?
brand new
Justin
jersey
Tucker.
in the collection. It is Justin Tucker. Gonna go down
Solid.
as, I'll say it time and time again, gonna go down as the greatest kicker in NFL history by the time it's all said and done, in my opinion.
Yeah, he probably already is. I'm doing great. I'm not gonna lie. I bought a one of those Batman pizza calzone things from Little Caesars yesterday. So actually I'm not doing good. I'm doing quite bad actually.
Give us a quick review, quick rundown.
What? Yeah.
It was mid at best. Pizza,
Okay.
not great. Calzone kind of made up for it. We'll never ever even think about getting it again, or Little Caesars in general.
I feel like that's Little Caesars for you. Little Caesars is like cheap, so you buy a bunch of it for a party, but you don't get it just to enjoy.
Yeah, or like a party of two. Just like just watching the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Hopefully you weren't watching the dunk contest, because then that would just be a plethora.
It's a terrible experience overall.
That'd just be a shit show altogether. But yeah, I'll never touch a Little Caesars pizza in my lifetime. It's just sacrilegious to be, to have New York pizza my entire life and then go and eat that shit. It's just not gonna happen. But yeah, boys, you know how we always start these things. So today we are going to be doing a guess that player.
What?
But I'm just gonna give you a hint here. Just gonna give you a hint. He was drafted to the MLB.
Okay.
That's it.
It's not Kyler Murray. Go ahead. No,
Russell
ask
Wilson?
away. Go.
Russell Wilson.
Hold on. I didn't start yet. Wait, hold on. I need a timer. Going. That's partially my fault. Okay.
I was gonna say you did say ask away,
minute?
and then also told him to stop. So.
It's a minute, right? It's a minute.
Yeah.
We do a minute.
Yeah, a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And first question.
Is it Russell Wilson?
Not Russell Wilson.
NFC or
Way
AFC?
too obvious. NFC.
Are they a quarterback?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. NFC East.
No.
Okay.
NFC West.
No.
NFC North.
No.
Oh. Do they play on a team in the NFC South that has red in their jersey?
No.
Okay.
We got to speed this up, Gage.
Yeah.
It's either Panthers or Saints.
Is it Panthers?
No.
Saints. So
It's Jameis Winston.
It is Jameis Winston.
I should have just said it. I should have just spit it out because I felt like he was. I knew that he played baseball. I should have just gone with it. I didn't know that he got drafted though.
Yeah, I didn't know he got drafted either.
He got drafted in the 15th round of the 2012 MLB draft by the Texas Rangers.
Oh, wow. Hot commodity.
I believe. He was actually a pretty decent pitcher in college. Yeah. Let's see here. He was a reliever. In his sophomore season, he pitched 33 innings, 1 win, no losses, 7 saves, 1.08 ERA, 31 strikeouts. Pretty like those are solid numbers for Florida State. So
some may say that he picked the wrong sport.
Maybe, possibly. It's so funny because I've never seen, with all these guys that fail in football, like I don't think I've ever seen any of them just go and like try to make baseball work. Well, Tim Tebow,
yeah.
Tebow, I guess, but I don't think Tim Tebow was drafted out of high school.
Yeah,
he only played. In high school.
Russ only did those like the spring training stuff, right?
Spring training is like a gimmick. Yeah, Russ did spring training. Tom Brady was also drafted. Kyler was the highest drafted. Kyler was a top 10 pick in the MLB. And which is wild, by the way. Who else? There's been a couple guys that have been drafted by baseball players because there's 40 rounds of the MLB draft, in case you didn't know. So it's very easy to get drafted into the MLB.
Hell, we could get drafted right now.
Probably. Yeah. I'm not even getting if you played like 3 solid years of high school baseball, you probably got drafted by a major league franchise.
Yeah,
which is wild to think about. It's pretty crazy, but yeah. All right, now. Let's move on here to a weekend that had its ups, had its downs. NBA All-Star Weekend. Here's the thing. Okay. People won that I didn't expect to win. There was a good game. There were some bad games. Just an overall clusterfuck of emotions going on with the NBA All-Star Weekend this year. So let's just start it out with, I think, the first big man since Dirk to win the 3-point contest. Like, who's the last big man that won the 3-point contest?
I think Dirk. I think you're right.
I think Dirk.
No, Kevin Love.
Kevin Love won it. Kevin Love did win it. I think KP competed in it when he was with the Knicks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think he won. No,
Jokic played in one too, I believe.
Jokic played in one. I think they try to get big men. They try to get big men. They try to include big men in it. But that's kind of crazy. The Cat outshot some of those guys. What did you guys think? What did you guys think of Cat's shooting ability there?
I mean, we knew he had it. Did we know? Did we know that he had it to like this extent? Probably not. I mean, it is what it is. It's not like his opponents were crazy star-studded, like, perimeter lockdown 3-point shooters. Like, it was all right competition. Trae Young, I mean, Desmond Bane, Fred VanVleet. Yikes. Honestly, just a big yikes for every Raptor this weekend. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I did not catch the 3-point contest. I watched the highlights afterwards. Cat got hot as hell. It is what it is. I mean, All-Star Weekend just all as a whole was kind of disappointing. And I feel like it gets more disappointing year by year, especially when you look at the highs of like some of those 2010s, dunk contest, 3-point contest with Steph and Clay going back and forth. Just overall, it was meh. It was a meh event, but it was watchable. I mean, it's TV, sports, got to watch it.
Watchable is important when talking about some events that went on this weekend. So watchable is a good word for this.
Absolutely.
Gage, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome that he won it for sure. I don't know if you guys saw, but the NBA made an exception where he was allowed to wear his mom's necklace. She passed away from COVID. And I mean, he went out there and he got hot and he was putting him in there, which was surprising. He had the worst odds of anybody in the contest. So for him to go out and win it, I think is awesome. I unfortunately put $50 on CJ McCollum to win it. He had the second worst odds, I think. And I was like, you know what? He's a guy. I feel like he's a guy that could go
the
out
wrong
there.
guy.
I mean, any of them really, could have gone out there and won it. You never know with the 3-point contest, obviously, with a guy like that. So I lost $50, but good for Karl Anthony-Towns.
Luke Kennard, I believe, shoots the best out of everybody in the 3-point contest, which is crazy. Luke Kennard. Wow.
Luke Kennard, Duke. Oh my God, that's a name I haven't heard in a little bit.
Right.
So Cat told, I believe it was The Athletic in December, that he was the best 3-point shooting big of all time. I don't, how are we feeling about, I mean, he's backing it up with some receipts here, but like, now you've just put yourself in the conversation with Caleb. Caleb, like, I feel like doesn't get enough respect anymore because he's been on this downtrodden Cleveland team. Still putting up good numbers though, but he was a walking 2020 in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Dude was a monster. And then Dirk, of course. I don't think anybody will ever touch Dirk as the greatest.
I think Joel Embiid has to be mentioned in here too.
Joel Embiid, definitely.
I think
Jokic, definitely.
As well, yeah.
There's just so many now. There's so many.
Yeah,
Tim Duncan. I feel like he had a mid-range, but like Tim Duncan can shoot a little bit.
He could. As far as like best, I still personally would say Dirk. But I think Karl Anthony-Towns is in the conversation. I definitely think that you could potentially make an argument for him if you feel strongly about it. He's put himself up there, but to say that he's the best,
you could say he's the best center, maybe best
it may
five.
have been better received if he wasn't the one that said it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just came across as kind of like tooting his own horn. But if somebody else had said it, I feel like it may have been a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing with athletes, like they got to have that confidence. That's the reason they got that far.
I'm not knocking him or anything like that. I'm just saying as far as how the public received it.
Yeah. Well, it's very rare that you get these like just undisputed like GOAT, caliber players. Like Steph, obviously there's no you can't say you're the greatest 3-point shooter of all time.
We'll get to him in a little bit.
When Steph Curry is still alive, like you can't say that. Like when it comes to the best shooting big of all time, like it's kind of hard to when Dirk is in that conversation and to just dethrone Dirk Nowitzki because it's probably never gonna happen because the guy was just the purest shooter I've ever seen in my life. Like
off balance too, all the time.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like it was kind of like our generation's version of Larry Bird. I know they didn't play the same position, but like Larry Bird is one of those players I wish I could have seen. I wish I could see growing up. Cause like, I feel like people don't like understand. Like I'll go back and watch his highlights and I'm like, how the fuck did this guy? He shot a bucket over the freaking backboard once as he was falling out of bounds. Like, how does that happen? I don't know. Larry Bird is somebody I could,
playing horse and everybody else is playing.
Yeah. Honestly, he went out and he played a game with his left. He told the other team, I'm going to play this entire game with my left hand. And he dropped like 30 on them. Nobody does that nowadays. Nobody. I can't think of one player that could do that nowadays. Maybe LeBron in his prime, but like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's crazy.
That's
and nobody, and you wouldn't see anybody do it and get respect for it. You would see somebody do it and they'd be like, dude, what the fuck? Like, because it probably wouldn't go well.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, but that was just Larry Bird for me. Moving on to I got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. The dunk contest was just, it's bad when I'm pissed. Obi won. Obi Toppin won the dunk contest. A Knick won.
A Knick won.
Put it in the that deserves to be in the rafters of MSG at this point with how poor the Knicks have been. Like right next to made the playoffs in 2021. Like it's got to be Obi Toppin won the dunk contest. I didn't watch it. And I saw like some highlights on Instagram, but just from the fact that I didn't even know it was going on, and the fact that the NBA was barely posting highlights of it, I got a bad feeling about what the hell is going on. Yeah. And and All Sports News just came out with a post is like, to be honest, this was the worst dunk contest by far. So I got pretty much all I needed to see from that, and then hearing about what Jalen Green did. So Gage, I'll start with you. What's your opinion on the dunk contest when it gets like this?
I feel like we've almost kind of put ourselves in this situation with the dunk contest because the creativity, it's just, you get to a point where it's like, how do you top that in a reasonable fashion? You know what I mean? So I feel like it would be better if it was almost a little bit more structured and like they had certain rounds around certain things, like you have to incorporate a certain move or something like that into it. So then guys, know what they're getting into and they're not just going out there and winging it, because they try to get so creative that they end up doing these things that are like, dunking's hard. Dunking is difficult to be in with NBA player or not. So to add extra moves into it and stuff like that, if you do too much, it's next to impossible. So I feel like if you do rounds where it's like kind of building up and then in the final round, you have one that's like really out there or super creative or, jumping over a car, that kind of stuff. I feel like that would almost be better and people would be more willing to watch it rather than watching a bunch of guys miss a bunch of dunks repeatedly.
Yeah. I think first off, they had two players in the dunk contest that aren't dunkers. just straight off the bat. Why is Cole Anthony in the dunk contest?
That's another thing is like guys just don't want to participate.
Exactly. Yeah. Cole Anthony should not have been there. Juan Toscano Anderson, I'm sorry, shouldn't have been there. Jalen Green has probably the best bounce in the league, I'd argue. Like between him and Anthony Edwards and John Morant. That's what we need to get is Anthony Edwards and John Morant, but the NBA will never dish out enough money for that to happen. Miles Bridges as well. It was disappointing. I think the best dunk was probably Obi Toppin's first dunk where he leaped over that guy and did the behind the back from left to right. After Jalen Green put on the NFT around his neck, I swear to God, I stopped playing and I started playing 2K golf on my PlayStation.
There you go.
What does that tell you, NBA? I'm not even playing 2K NBA 2K. I'm playing fucking 2K golf because your product is that bad. Yeah, it's a great game. By the way, it's an outstanding game. You wouldn't expect it. It's an outstanding
game. Games are fun.
Yeah,
this is wild.
Now you got to invest. I think the only way that they could fix this moving forward, like you said, Gage, there's just no creativity with it. Everything has been done before. I think the next step, if you're gonna even like come up with a new sort of dunk, is you're gonna have to incorporate a flip, like or something. And there's no gymnasts in the NBA. There's no one actually gonna do that unless you get to trampoline, and that's not cool. So I think the only way to fix this is by just not having NBA players participated in it and get 4 of the best dunkers from around, the country, have them compete in order to, get on this stage at the NBA All-Star game, the NBA dunk contest, and have those guys, the guys whose heart are actually into it, get those guys competing against one another instead of these NBA players that 1, don't want to be there and 2, they just don't want to be there. That's it. They just don't want to be there. And you're not getting stars. You're never going to get LeBron James. You're never going to get any of these guys. I mean, so might as well just get some players off the street. At least we'll know that they're actually like into it. And, I've been training for a long time because players just don't want to get hurt. That's another thing. So
yeah, it tells you something that the best dunkers in the NBA don't want to do this. Like it says something right there that should be like, it's criminal that we haven't gotten Miles Bridges in the dunk contest, right? He hasn't been.
I think we have. Right? I think he has been.
He might have been in one very early in his career.
I'm pretty sure he was in one his rookie season.
Okay,
and I don't think he did anything too crazy, but I mean he's improved by quite a bit since then.
Exactly. So it's like I don't know. It's like John Morant. John Morant would put on a show at the dunk contest.
Oh my God.
So there's just these guys that like we want to see, and I don't know how you fix it. I feel like you definitely have to cut down on the misses. Like if you get 1 miss per dunk, like if you miss, like that's it. And sorry, you're not going to get. I don't want to watch Jalen Green miss 15,000 times.
Yeah, that was what the fuck was up with that?
They got to have a point where they just cut it off and be like, "That's enough." Like stop.
Yeah. Like you get 2 attempts. If you miss on your first one, you get to try again, and then if you miss on that one, then oh well, about your luck.
Yeah, because then if they have that, or even just cut out misses altogether, like you do your dunk. If it goes in, great. If it doesn't, that was your attempt. Like, sorry. Because then if you did that, guys know they can miss. So why would they practice? Yeah. Like they might practice a little bit. But Jalen Green was out there having a full-on practice session at the dunk contest. Like it's ridiculous. You need to, they're not, even the guys that you get in it aren't preparing for it. And that's the reason. I don't think Vince Carter, I think he might have prepared. I don't think he did it actually. I think that was just a crazy Vince Carter, that's never going to be nature. Yeah. Vince Carter, that's never going to be tough.
I feel like they definitely prepare at least 4 because if they make it to but nothing past that. You could see that Jalen Green didn't really have a backup plan for, that one.
Yeah. So I think what they should do is they should make the dunk contest kind of like the Olympics. Do it every 5 years, every 4 years or so. Because then it adds some I don't know, there's a feeling of oh, this might be one of the few chances in my career I get to compete in the dunk contest. Maybe I want to go do it now. Instead of having it every year and watering down the product, then it becomes this big event. And then you might attract some more stars. Because it'd be oh, this only happens once every 5 years. I might only get 2 shots in my prime to do this. I kind of want to do it. And I think that it kind of sounds like a crazy thing because the dunk contest has kind of been a staple of All-Star Weekend. It was eliminated at one point. And it was eliminated. Why? Because it sucked, because the product got watered down. And that's what's happening. If the dunk contest, if we didn't have the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine dunk contest, I think this would have happened a while ago. I think we would have been complaining about this for a while because
Yeah,
last year sucked too.
So, like, speaking of that Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine one, can you name me any of the winners since that happened? Like any of them, 2017 through 2021.
Did JaVale McGee win one year?
I
he
think
participated. I know that.
Yeah, he participated.
I
don't know.
Derek House or whatever the hell his name was.
Derek Jones.
Derek Jones.
Derek Jones won one.
Airplane mode. Yeah, that whole bullshit. No, I can't.
Yeah,
name
I feel it's been Glenn Robinson, Donovan Mitchell, Hamidou Diallo, Derek Jones Jr., and Anthony Simmons. I couldn't have told you Anthony Simmons won a dunk contest if you held a gun to my head. There's no shot. And that happened last year. That's how bad the product has gone. Because everybody only remembers that Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon dunk contest. Maybe you remember Derek Jones because Aaron Gordon got snubbed. So, and then even before then, like, you don't really hear anybody talking about John Wall or Terrence Ross. They always talk about Blake Griffin beforehand and his crazy dunk
bit of
over
Nate
the car.
Robinson. You hear some about Nate Robinson.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like that's why they continue to do it though, because every few years or whatever, they have that one matchup that's actually really good. But the matchup that ends up being really good is guys that we want to see. That Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon matchup was what we wanted to see. Guys that have legitimate bounce, that can dunk, that are going out there and getting creative and are actually able to make the dunks that they're attempting. And that's what makes it good. I feel like they almost need to incentivize it in a way to try to get guys to participate. Like, I mean, if you look at like the MLB with the home run derby and stuff like that, those guys, they win money, right? If
they do.
I think some goes to charity too, or even just do a combination of the two.
Yeah, just something along those lines. I feel like you would get a lot more guys that are willing to participate rather than, no offense to the guys that participated this year, but a lot of guys that not many people are interested in seeing in this to begin with.
Yeah, and I feel like that's actually a great point about the home run derby, because that's one of the things, like, the home run derby has never been watered down. Like, it's had
people. There was a home run derby.
There was an amazing matchup, Aaron Judge's rookie year against Giancarlo Stanton.
I remember that.
Was the most fun home run derby I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, that shit was awesome. And the home run derby is just always an enjoyable time because you are always able to get stars to compete in the home run derby.
Yeah, and it's not overcomplicated.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of saying. Like, if they put more rules or like specifications into it, I feel like it would be better, because there's not as much like these guys just trying to come up with the craziest shit they can.
Yeah.
For the home run derby, they go out there and they just hit dingers.
Yeah.
For the dunk contest, if they go out there and they perform, not simple dunks, but ones that aren't as ridiculous, and they're actually able to make them, I feel like people would enjoy it a lot more.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. There's definitely, I think we're heading towards the fact that they might take it away again if it's getting this bad. Yeah. Cause weren't there boos? Like, the crowd was not into it at all.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar left.
He
left.
Shaq looked like he wanted to be literally anywhere else.
Lil Baby said their ass. This guy's ass. Like, it was bad.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to mention that Aaron Gordon got robbed in that Zach LaVine dunk contest.
Yes.
How the fuck do you do a under the legs jump over your mascot and dunk it and not fucking Zach LaVine jumped from the free throw line. We've seen that a million. I know it's impressive as hell. Okay, I get it, but we've seen it a million times.
And he did it twice in the same, right after the other.
Yeah, and I get it. I could never do that. Okay, there's a lot of humans that could never do that. But we've never seen that shit before that Aaron Gordon did. And he did it on the second, I think it was the second try. So that's fucking impressive.
No, he did it on his first try. I think it was his second dunk.
Yes. Yeah. Which is why I think the mascot was on a fucking hoverboard or something.
That was his first dunk when he did the 360.
The mascot was on a hoverboard. Wasn't it spinning?
Yeah.
Yeah. The timing on that was crazy.
Yeah. And now we get Jalen Green missing 30 fucking dunks in a row. And
that's another thing too. I feel like we had that snub. We had the Derek Jones Jr. snub. Guys also probably don't want to participate because they feel like the judging isn't fair either.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Dwayne Wade. We're looking at you.
Yeah.
That's why they had him on commentary this year, is because they can have
Yeah, they couldn't have him judging that shit. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But okay. The All-Star game also happened. That was the major event of this weekend. So we'll move on to some more positive things. I didn't personally see. I didn't watch All-Star weekend. I was busy pretty much all weekend. But I heard it was actually pretty good. I saw LeBron hit a game-winning shot. Yep. I just want to commend the NBA for actually making the All-Star game competitive again, because Adam Silver has been really good about trying to find ways to make it engaging. It's not quite like the MLB, like the All-Star game used to mean something. Like it would, like up until a few years ago, MLB, like the All-Star game decided home field advantage in the World Series. Like that's wild. Like that's a little too much. That's a little too much to put on the All-Star game, especially because like you don't like the teams. I guess that's why they all competed, because they didn't know. Like they were like, oh shit, we could be in the World Series. Like, But yeah, I mean the drafting and the competition between players, it's really become like a pickup game, and I think it's put out a great product. So Luke, I'll start with you. What do you think of the All-Star game?
Like, we can't let LeBron draft Curry and Giannis and Jokic. Yeah. Like what are we doing? LeBron is
5-0.
KD, what the fuck? Yeah, I swear, if KD ever becomes a GM, you better watch out. And we're getting closer to that than him, maybe even winning a championship with the Nets. But that's nor here nor there. I thought the All-Star game was great. It got really competitive towards the end. It was really, really close. I watched. I missed the first quarter. I started midway through the second quarter watching it. I didn't see Fred VanVleet on the floor once, not a single time. I was very upset by that. Yeah, I didn't see a lot of people on the floor. You know who I did see on the floor, which was weird, though, was Chris Paul, who just a little bit before reports came out that he was going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And here he is playing a few minutes in the All-Star game, got me questioning things. No, I think he was just there because he was accepting that it was like a WNBA advocacy award, something with Vanessa Bryant. So, yeah, congrats to him. Steph Curry was just electric. He got real cold down the stretch there. He was just chucking up shots because he wanted to break that 52 points, that 52-point record, but he wasn't able to do it. Still broke the threes record in like the second quarter 16. Or something. Yeah, it was crazy. He got so stupid hot as only Steph Curry can get. And then it's only fitting for LeBron to hit that last shot in Cleveland. He had, the Cleveland guys on his team too. Darius Garland and Jared Allen was on his team too, correct? I think so. I want to say.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and they had him in there down the stretch going up against Embiid.
Yeah, because Kevin Durant didn't want to take James Harden. So LeBron ended up getting James Harden, and Jared Allen replaced James Harden.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that makes sense. And Jared Allen, great defender. He had a couple nice blocks in there. Joel Embiid, love me some Joel Embiid. I think he's going to win the MVP this year. I truly do. I don't know how I became such an Embiid fan. I hated him just in 2019. But yeah, here we are now. Great All-Star game. It was great. And I do love the concept that they do now with the each quarter is like a new game, and whoever wins that quarter gets, the money to go to charity. So it's awesome.
For sure. I'm telling you, people, incentives. Yeah. Incentives is how you get guys to want to participate. And yeah, I thought obviously there still wasn't a lot of defense played, which in something like basketball, it's not as bad as like the Pro Bowl, because if you just watch nobody try to tackle a guy, it's like, that's not fun. That's not football. But if you watch guys, if you shoot a ball, it's not guaranteed to go in. If nobody tries to tackle you, you're guaranteed to get a touchdown. You know what I mean? So there's definitely a different fun aspect to it, especially like Steph Curry just chucking up 3-pointers every chance that he gets and not watching to see whether or not they go in, and they go in. You love to see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a great game. I saw some highlights of it, but yeah, the All-Star game, because I remember 5 years ago, it was unwatchable. Like that was another one. Yeah. The All-Star game was awful. But it's definitely gotten better. So kudos to Adam Silver for kind of trying to figure out ways to make it a little better. Maybe Roger Goodell to learn a few things from Adam.
Yeah, they need to have a meeting or something.
Yeah. Seriously.
Stephen A had a take that he said, Steph Curry is the new face of the NBA. And I thought about it. And I think Steph Curry's been the face of the NBA for quite some time now.
Yeah. I feel like Steph Curry has stuck around the longest in that conversation, but there's obviously always going to be some changes here and there. I mean, LeBron is always in that conversation. Last season, I would 100% say that it was Giannis.
Yes.
And going into the offseason and stuff, Giannis definitely took that role. And then maybe you can kind of, I don't know if I would say Durant was the face of the NBA at any point, just because, you know, when he was really big, really like popular was when he was kind of that villain role on the Warriors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Steph Curry is definitely up there the most.
Yeah. And especially in like the 2014, 2015, when Golden State really started coming on, like that was, I personally was not huge into basketball at that time. And all I ever heard about was not LeBron. It was about Steph. Like I saw 30,000 kids started coming to my school with, I didn't have 30,000 kids in my school, but obviously hyperbole people. But I saw like a bunch of kids just start coming into school with like Golden State jerseys. And I'm like, we're in New York. Why the fuck do you have a Golden State Warriors jersey on? And it was always Steph Curry. So I feel like Steph Curry has been that's what I think of when I think of face of the league. I think of if a person doesn't even watch this sport because what's the first player they think of from that sport? That's what I think of when I think of face of the league.
Yeah. When you hear the words the letters NBA, you think of Steph Curry. And I'd even argue Giannis wasn't even it last year, even though he won the championship.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about the NBA, I'm still thinking about Steph Curry, and it really switches between him and LeBron right now, but LeBron just isn't winning. And I feel like LeBron is more so known a lot for his off the court stuff that he does with his, I Believe school and all of his charity work. Whereas Steph is more so known for like changing the game of basketball. Everybody's shooting. Very likable. Yeah.
Like Steph Curry for the NBA, Shohei Ohtani for baseball.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers for the NFL.
Yeah.
There it is.
Joe Burrow, right? Well, Joe Burrow's kind of getting like, it's like half and half, I would say now, but for a little while he was kind of that guy. And then
I wouldn't put Joe Burrow in the same league as Steph Curry and Shohei Ohtani, who just completely changed the game of baseball.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm saying as far as like being the like. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Okay, yeah. All right. As far as like I understand. Yeah, like
there's very likable guys that are kind of at the forefront of their sport right now. As far as like.
No, no. I think it's Patrick Mahomes now, and I don't think that's pretty. I think that's pretty unanimous. But it was Tom Brady for 20 years. Like it was always Tom Brady. Like you ask somebody that doesn't watch football, name a football player. If they're not saying Peyton Manning, they're saying Tom Brady. Like those were the guys. Like
I can agree with that. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, I think is more of the Curry, and then Joe Burrow is more of the Giannis, where like you get into.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would. I
feel like
that's a better
sense.
analogy. Yeah. Beware of Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen could sneak into that conversation soon because he's just a freak of nature. And as popular as Buffalo Bills fans are and that fan base, like I could see that kind of skyrocketing Josh Allen's stock up. So
you can't hate Josh Allen. I don't know if there's somebody he's a freak of nature.
My mom, literally after that, my mom who does not watch football, my mom after that Chiefs and Bills game called me and started raving about Josh Allen. And she's like, do you know this number 17 on Buffalo? Holy shit, this guy is, she's like, Jim Kelly never did this shit. And I was like, where is this coming from? Because my mom went to University of Buffalo during the Bills, Super Bowl runs. Yeah. So she was very familiar with those. She's like, Jim Kelly had nothing on this fucker. Holy shit. My mom was cursing my ear off about Josh Allen. It was so funny. So Josh Allen's a freak of nature. So I could see him taking over that role sometime soon, especially with Mahomes stock going down because of Brittany and Jackson. Anyway, let's so we were talking about basketball, but let's move on here we got some random rankings for you guys, and today it's going to be sports awards. So we are going to be here ranking your top 3 awards based solely on how the trophy looks. So I wanted to put the Land Grant Trophy in here in this. I don't know if you guys know what the Land Grant Trophy is. It's the trophy between Michigan State, Penn State every year. It is the ugliest trophy you will ever see in your entire life. So I'm going to let you guys go because I'm going to look up a picture of this and try to put it as my background so you guys can see this.
Okay.
You got it, Gage.
Solid. Okay. So I looked through trophies for this just to make sure that I was certain about this.
Yeah.
At number 3, I don't watch golf, right? But the Wanamaker Trophy, that the guy that they win for winning the PGA Tour, I feel like is just a very classic looking trophy.
Spell that.
WANNAMAKER, I believe. I'm fairly certain.
Okay.
But it's just a very classic looking trophy. Like when you think of a trophy, it kind of gives you that vibe, you know, like just it looks like it's old,
Beautiful.
has a lot of history to it, and it does. And there's a lot of inscriptions and stuff like that on it. So I personally really like that one. And by the way, this ranking is solely based on how cool they look. This isn't necessarily the history behind them or anything. We're just doing it off of appearance. At number 2, or do you guys want to do?
No, I think we should.
Go ahead.
Okay. At number 2, I have the Heisman Trophy.
Yep.
Because I feel like it is very iconic, and the fact that it's like shaped like, you know, a football player, an old school football player, got the hand out. People do the pose all the time. I love the Heisman Trophy. And then number 1, I actually have the Larry O'Brien Trophy that they win for winning the NBA championship, because I feel like it's a very sleek design, and I think it's a lot cooler than a lot of other sports trophies that they win for their championship. Like there's some that are great. Like in baseball, you know, with all the flags, all the pennants and stuff, I feel like that one's fantastic. The Stanley Cup obviously is fantastic, but I just like the Larry O'Brien Trophy itself because I feel like it's creative. You got the basketball, the base of it is shaped like a net. I just love it personally.
Some good picks. I might have some of those on my list. I have a quick honorable mention. There was a Lombardi Trophy in Lambeau Field when I went that was 50 feet tall. It was probably 100 feet tall. It was huge. So that's my honorable mention. I don't know.
Giant Lombardi.
It's sick. It's sick. It's like the size of like 3 escalators if you go through the stadium. You should have checked it out, Gage, when you were there. I didn't know it was a thing until I went. I was like, holy shit. Okay. At number 3, I also have the Larry O'Brien Trophy. I love it because it's so much not a trophy. If that makes sense. It's so uneven with the way that the ball is, you know, looking how like it's going through the net of the actual trophy. I think it's sick because it's uneven and it's not like, you know, for instance, you just said the Wanamaker Trophy, how it's like a, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, it has the 2 handles.
It's abstract.
It's very like you think of a trophy. That's very much like, you know, what you think of when you hear the word trophy. But Larry O'Brien, I think, is so unique. That's on my 3rd spot. At number 2, I have the Intercontinental Championship in WWE, specifically the white strap belt. It is one of the most clean championship designs. I wish they would start sending these belts to the Super Bowl champions instead of just the regular WWE ones. Because holy shit, it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. It's, you know, if I become one day when I join the WWE, that's going to be my belt. I'm bringing that back. And at number 1, I also have the Heisman Trophy on my list. The Heisman's just classic. The Heisman is just absolutely classic. And oh my God, this guy.
What am I looking at?
Is that the trophy of
what's it called?
Penn State?
This is the Land Grant Trophy. So this is what Penn State and Michigan State plays for every single year. It is the ugliest trophy in all of sports. It is absolutely atrocious. Look at this.
I would lose on purpose.
Yeah.
There's like trophies on the side built into it?
So this is the Nittany Lion, and then this, I guess, I don't know what the fuck this is. Then there's
that's the Nittany
there's
Lion
shelves.
there.
There's shelves on the side of it with stuff on it, which is statues and shit on it.
It's
about this wide for no reason. And then it's just kind of basically. Yes.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Why would you play for that? Why would you
I don't know.
want to lose that game?
Don't know. I don't
You're
know.
not getting me hyped showing me that.
It's just a huge like joke in the Big Ten because it's so ugly.
If people are listening, can you spell it for them so that they can look it up?
Yes, Land Grant Trophy. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. Just look it up. Penn State. It's between Penn State and Michigan State. Anybody that watches Penn State or Michigan State, you'll know what this trophy looks like as soon as I see it. Because it is, it's pretty notorious in the Big Ten for how atrociously ugly it is. The Big Ten has some ugly trophies. This one takes
the axe is pretty cool.
The axe is cool. Paul Bunyan's axe is pretty cool. The Paul Bunyan Trophy is decent. is pretty cool between Michigan and Michigan State. That one's pretty cool. There's
No,
a couple.
I was talking about the axe between Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Yeah, that's the Paul Bunyan axe. And then there's
the trophy.
Bunyan,
okay, yeah.
And then there's a Paul Bunyan trophy.
Understood.
So there's actually 2 Paul Bunyan trophies, which makes no sense. But I'm just
it is really Big Ten.
Yeah, Big Ten. Big Ten. It makes sense in the Big Ten. I'm sorry. I don't know why. But continue, Luke. You were giving your list.
Oh yeah, Heisman. I just like I like when players score a touchdown, they do like the little Heisman thing. That's my reasoning for having it number 1.
Sick.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't argue with the Heisman. Those are all great ones. I don't know the WWE or the golf one. Haven't seen those. I'm sorry. But I will. Mine is pretty classic here. At number 3, I do have the Heisman. Again, that one's just pretty notorious. Like there's like people strike the pose for a reason. It's just such an awesome trophy. At number 2, I have the Commissioner's Trophy for the World Series. I have just always loved that look of all the flags going around with all the teams on it.
Yep.
I just think it's very creative, and there's really nothing like it in sports. So I love that trophy. I think it's very iconic in baseball. Yeah. And at number 1, I do have the Stanley Cup. I know it's supposed to be purely how it looks. I just think it looks so cool. Like, and especially the way you hoist it up. And I am taking into account the history behind it, because that thing has been around for over 100 and so years. Like the thing is honestly insane.
They say it's 35 pounds, but it feels like nothing when you're the one lifting it.
Yeah.
When you're the one taking shots out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that it's so cool, because it's the only trophy, I believe, in all of sports that is, you don't get to keep it. Like you get 100 days with the trophy, and you got to give it back to the NHL. So when you win the Stanley Cup, you get 100 days with it, and then you got to give it back. Like you don't keep it.
They're not making a new one every year, like the Lombardis and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. The team might make a replica of it and keep it in their arena, but they're not. Yeah. They're not gonna. They got to give it back. So that's a pretty cool story with the Stanley Cup. I think that's pretty awesome how they're all playing for the same Stanley Cup that they were playing for in like the 40s. Like that's insane.
It always bugged me as a kid that I always thought the Stanley Cup looked like it was upside down, like as a trophy, if that makes sense. Like I thought that
I kind of get that.
Yeah. I always thought
when you think of a trophy, you expect it to kind of have that like slender,
and then the larger part on top.
Yeah. But it's all just kind of like one big. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. And also the memes of people like Ovi like drinking out of it upside down and shit. Like the memes are endless with the Stanley Cups. That adds to its lore a little bit too. But yeah. Hockey's got some cool trophies. If you ever get the chance to look at hockey trophies, like they're pretty dope. It's very creative.
If I had to give an honorable mention, because you guys kind of gave yours, even though Jake, yours is hideous.
I just wanted to show you the worst. I just wanted to show you the ugliest. Yeah.
I would say the Golden Glove in baseball. Because I mean,
that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Literally shaped like a glove.
It's
old. They take it home for best defender in the MLB, right?
Yeah, for each position. Each
position, and it looks awesome. I like it. I'm thinking of it like I would have it up on a shelf somewhere, or like how much I would enjoy having it there, and that one would be up there.
Speaking of baseball, sorry, Jake, you go.
Go ahead. You're going to talk about baseball. I want to hear this. Go. Yeah, please. Please continue.
You know they're remaking Wii Sports.
They are,
Nintendo
yes,
Switch Sports.
Switch. Yeah, but no baseball. But it does
no baseball, which sucks.
Trash.
Like it makes no sense.
Yeah,
soccer is pretty cool. Volleyball, man, it's like
how are you gonna play soccer on Nintendo? I guess
they have a little strap. They put they're giving you a strap to put on your leg, and then you hold the other one in your hands. I don't know how it's gonna work out. It is too much. It is too much.
Why are you holding it in your hand? You don't use your hands in soccer. I mean, I guess unless you're doing like throw-ins and shit.
Maybe like the one in your hand for the movement itself.
Yeah,
and the thing on your leg to like shoot the ball.
Kick it.
I guess. Something like that. And you can like die. And apparently the ball is like oversized, so it's a whole weird thing.
I don't know.
I don't like that.
We can't have nice things.
Yeah. No, that's kind of. If I don't hear single and want to kill myself,
single,
and want to kill myself on Wii Sports, like then it's not real. Like then that's not Wii Sports to me. So yeah.
If I don't hear single, and want to kill myself. That is not Wii Sports.
That's not
me.
Wii Sports. That's not Wii Sports.
Because
no, my girlfriend, we were playing Wii the other day. She is like scary good. Like it's not fair. Like how good she just hits dingers on every at bat. I couldn't even get up to the plate. She hit I think there's mercy rule in Wii Sports. We ended in the top of the first inning because I couldn't get up.
Oh my God.
I was like, this isn't fair. And then I finally got up and I hit a single and I was like, fuck, this is bullshit. I thought I got that. Yeah.
I think that's the best quote you've ever had on this podcast. If I'm not wanting to kill myself, this is not Wii Sports.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. I think that's a very relatable.
When you go up against Matt in literally any game.
Fuck Matt.
Boxing, Matt is fucking you up every time.
Yes.
But don't sleep on bowling Matt though. Bowling Matt will fuck you up sometimes.
Tennis bowling Matt too.
Tennis Matt. Nah. Tennis Matt. I smoked his ass. No, he couldn't beat me in tennis.
I'm excited for tennis though on the new Switch.
Tennis is tennis goes
fucking
awesome. And I remember always being pissed as a kid because you know that speed serve you get in tennis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
my sister could always do it.
Yeah,
and
there's
couldn't get the timing right.
She would never tell me how to do it, and it pissed me off. Still to this day, I'm not exactly sure how to do it. I've gotten it sometimes. Is it just timing? Is that all it is?
I think so.
Partially button. You push a button or something like the trigger or something like that, and then also the timing of it. You have to hit it like at the top of the serve.
Okay. Yeah.
What we're learning here is that Jake just has a fucking vendetta against Wii Sports.
I do. The you're out in baseball too. That's actually worse. That's actually you're out. Go fuck yourself. How about that? I'm gonna throw you out if you don't. Bro, it's bullshit. Baseball is responsible for 90% of my childhood trauma. I swear to God.
They added some new like sword game too, like some sumo sword.
Oh, game. Like Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah, that thing. It's called. I'm gonna butcher it. Chumbura or something like that. I don't know what it's called.
No, definitely. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Chumbura.
That's exactly
Chumbura. Yeah,
Fruit Ninja.
This conversation is still technically sports related.
Are we? Is it? So. I don't know. All right. I was kind of venting there.
That was some good stuff.
All right,
let's move on. Yeah.
We do have segments on this show. Let's move on to the next one. So wait, before I do that, something that does not give me trauma is the overtime app, as it's actually it's actually curing my childhood trauma if I were to give it even more of a because as much as I lose on it, I do win sometimes. So it's not like baseball and Wii Sports where I can't catch a fucking break. I actually do. There was one time I just put in a bunch of bullshit answers on the overtime app and I ended up winning that day and won about 50,000 coins. And that was pretty shocking for me. And that made that made my year, to be quite honest with you. I'm just I'm riding that high. Yes. It's not going to get better than that. I'm not expecting much better for the year.
We top and just won the dunk contest.
No. That's this is it's the moral victories that really count. But yeah, I don't think anything's gonna top that. But anyway, overtime app is fucking amazing. We just did a whole we kind of worked with overtime for the last couple of weeks of the NFL season, and it was awesome. We had some awesome giveaways with them. They still do giveaways with the pools. That's not over. So that's still going to be going on, guys. Make sure you download the overtime app. We always have a pool going on. Every once in a while, we'll have a giveaway with some cool stuff. So be sure, and it's literally just fantasy sports. It takes you 30 seconds to do. It's an awesome app that kind of combines a social media feature with it. It's getting better every single week, and you should just have it. Like, go to the link in our bio, download it now if you haven't already. We can't rave enough about it. I like, even if we don't benefit from it, even if you don't use the link in our bios, we still do want you guys to have it. Like, that's how much we do.
And with March Madness coming up, you better get on it because there's gonna be some crazy pools, some crazy prizes. You have to get in while you still can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, our favorite topic in all of sports, busts. Who's a bust? People, even after drafts, will be like, this guy is most likely to be a bust. How the fuck do you know? How do you know? He hasn't played yet. What the fuck? Like that one pissed me off. I mean, I was calling Rashawn Gary the most likely to be a bust. We see how that one's gone. Yeah, I know, Luke. This is before I knew you. I'm so sorry.
What?
I apologize. I apologize.
No.
Look, to be fair, Rashawn Gary in college was all talent. That's it. He did not put up the stats. He would disappear sometimes in games. Chase Winovich was the one. Chase Winovich was the one that was really putting up the numbers. Rashawn Gary was you just kept hearing about this talent that Rashawn Gary had, and he'd have like 2 sacks in the season, and you're like, I'm not okay. Where the fuck is it? I'm like, and then it finally came.
Hey, here it is.
We're
seeing it right now.
Finally came to fruition in the NFL, so that's good. But Sped, I'm gonna call him out. I'm gonna call out Sped because he put some names on this list here that I'm gonna read off that we're gonna talk about that I do not appreciate. He put my guy Saquon on there, and he put let's just start with Saquon.
I will say also he threw out some names and then I picked them, so I am also somewhat at fault.
Oh, so you lied to me. That's what happened. So before the show, no. Before the show, Gage was like, I was asking because I came on right away, guns blazing. I was ready to shoot. All right,
I came under the bus.
I came cocked and loaded. I was like, who the fuck made this list? Because they definitely had me in mind.
Okay, but only one of the people on this list was not on Sped's list. Only one of them I added myself.
Okay.
So
and I think I know who it is.
Who's Saquon Barkley?
No,
it was not Saquon. Was he the other one I'm pissed about?
No.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
But I did hand pick them, and it was for this reason because I knew that you would have this reaction.
Oh, thanks. And, you want to see me get all upset.
Content.
So.
Yeah.
I just use you for content, Jake.
That's fine. That's fine. I get used for much worse. That's fine.
Anyway,
it's like a therapy session this episode. Jesus Christ. I'm just gonna take some deep breaths. You guys just talk. Go Saquon, just Ben. I'm just gonna take
Saquon Barkley a bust. It is very, very tough because of how much he's been injured. And obviously he has the sheer talent. We've all seen it. We saw his rookie season where he went off, and he hasn't had the O-line to go along with it. But for the draft capital that they spent on him, alongside with the severe lack of production because of injuries and things like that, even if it is partially their fault because they haven't put the pieces around him to really help him out as far as, having people block for him, it's hard. I say it feels like Saquon could definitely be a bust, and there's a very short shelf life on running backs to begin with. So for him to have missed this time, not really produced, he could go on to another team and potentially produce, but I got to see it to believe it at this point.
I think it's a case of Saquon being on the wrong team at just the wrong time. Obviously, it's sort of hard to make judgments on him because we haven't seen him in 2 years now. I mean, he did play this past season, but obviously still dealt with injuries throughout. And then the year before tore his ACL and tore apart his knee. But the peak Saquon that we've seen so far, obviously, is rookie season where he won Offensive Rookie of the Year. He had 1,300 rushing yards, and then he went for over 1,000 again the next season. How about let's put an offensive line in front of him? How about let's get him just literally anybody else other than Daniel Jones and Eli Manning? That would be great. We could start with that. It's a great start. You know where I really would like to see him, and it doesn't quite make sense. Oh, the GOAT. That looks real. That looks real great in front of the ugliest trophy of all time. That looks really great. It's so good. That looks so
perfect.
Good. Yeah.
Hang that on the trophy.
I would like to see Saquon in Jacksonville, and I know that doesn't quite make sense because obviously they have James Robinson there, and he's been great for them for the past couple of years. I feel like he's a Jacksonville Jaguar type of player. I can't quite explain it. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he just kind of feels like that to me. I don't know why.
I think you're the only person that feels that way. I'm just
I would have to.
No, I know.
All right. You just feel. I don't know what a Jacksonville Jaguar feels like. He feels.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Hey, Jalen Ramsey had some good years before he left. Okay. But no, listen, Saquon, he was one of the most talented running backs in the history of college football.
Mm-hmm.
He came out, he had an offensive rookie of the year season. He was one of the best running backs in the NFL in his first year. So nobody, I appreciate that when we talk about Saquon Barkley, nobody disregards his talent. Like, because that's something that's just unquestionable. Like, the dude squats like 600 pounds. Like, he is talented as hell. He's shifty as hell. He can catch. He can run. He can do everything. Okay.
Does he have the best quads in the NFL anymore though? After AJ Dillon,
AJ Dillon definitely has put up a fight. AJ Dillon,
I think that's close. That's a valid
close. That's a valid argument at this point.
I want to see them next to each other because I feel like we haven't gotten that opportunity, but solely based off of pictures, and it might just be some good angles.
Yeah,
I think I might go AJ Dillon. Honestly,
I think AJ Dillon definitely is inching him out by a little bit. I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's just because I don't know though. I don't know. I haven't seen Saquon's quads. I haven't seen Saquon's in a while. So, but yeah, Saquon, he's definitely a talented running back. I think he needs to get the hell out of New York. They're not fixing that offensive line anytime soon. He needs to go somewhere where they'll put an offensive line in front of him, and I just think he'll be so much better. It seems like he just strikes me as somebody that is just waiting to get out, and then once he does get out, he's going to have like a revenge tour like no other. And I hope that happens because Jesus Christ, this guy was insane in college.
He doesn't need to get out of New York. He needs to get out of New Jersey and go to New York.
Buffalo, baby.
Let me throw another team.
Great for him.
Don't travels over a little bit over. He goes down to Jacksonville. No, he travels a little bit. What is it? West, goes over to Philly.
No, Eagles. They already got a Penn State running back there. They got Miles Sanders.
Yeah,
I don't know if Miles Sanders is all that.
I think he is. They didn't give him the ball when they finally gave him the ball this year. He was doing that. He was doing good.
I feel like you're getting similar guys in that situation.
Yeah,
I'm taking Saquon's upside. Well, 1,000,000%.
Well, I don't think that Miles Sanders is better or like on the level of Saquon or anything like that. But I feel like you're getting two guys that are powerful runners that can also catch, but have had an injury history up to this point.
Did the Giants re-sign Saquon or sign him to his 5th year?
I think they might have picked up his option.
Let me check.
I've heard that they're interested in trading him, but
I heard that too.
Where everybody is potentially getting traded right now, so I don't.
Yeah, but they are sticking with
fifth year
Daniel
option.
Jones. They are sticking with Daniel Jones, according to the new GM.
Yeah, great choice. Just great choices all around.
Yeah, terrific. That's just such a well-run organization up there in New York.
The Joe Shoe guy.
Yeah, the Joe Shoe, whatever the fuck his name is. But yeah, moral of the story, listen, Saquon, people have explained it to me. He was a bust for the position he was drafted in. I don't think he's a bust for the position he was drafted in. I think he's a bust for the team that drafted him because you were not in a position. And I get the whole best player available. And I do think that Saquon was, you can make the argument he was the best player available at the second point in the draft. Absolutely. But for your organization, you were not prepared for a running. Like as much as the Giants needed it, because Paul Perkins was not your solution. If you guys remember Paul Perkins, that was throwback there. As much as the Giants needed a running back, you weren't in a situation to put that running back in the best position to succeed. I think a running back should be one of the last pieces on a put together team. I don't think it should be one of the first. And that's what the Giants did. They tried to build around you could have as generational talent as you want. You could have an Adrian Peterson. Okay. You're not fucking doing anything until you put a team around that running back. Running backs can only do so much. This isn't the 80s where they're carrying every offense. This is 2021, 2022. Sorry. I already forgot what year it is.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
It's 2022. Like, offenses are so much more complex nowadays than just the running back. Running backs better be able to do so many different things, which Saquon could do, but you better, the most important thing is putting an offensive line in front of somebody. And we saw that now with the Super Bowl. We saw it with the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow. What's the biggest complaint with that? We saw it last year in the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes. You need to have an offensive line before you can do anything else in offense. That is point blank, period. And I think that's why it was a bust of a pick for the Giants, but Saquon in himself is not a bust. That's how I'd put it.
Yeah.
Moving on. Baker Mayfield. This one's interesting. So Luke, I'll start with you. I want to hear both your takes.
I'm gonna start my argument off with this. Case Keenum, Tyrod Taylor, Deshaun Kaiser, Kevin Hogan, Robert Griffin III, Cody Kessler, Josh McCown, Austin Davis, Johnny Manziel, Connor Shaw, Brian Hoyer, Brandon Whedon, Jason Campbell. Baker Mayfield is not a bust, guys.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield won the Browns a playoff game. The Browns have not sniffed the playoffs, let alone just like a winning record in forever. Baker Mayfield led them there. And not only that, killed their arch rivals in their own stadium. And yeah, the defense had a big part to do with that as well. And just Big Ben's demise as, sort of a starting quarterback in the NFL played a big part into that as well. But Baker Mayfield was outstanding just 2 seasons ago now. Or last season. I don't know how that worked. 2021 playoffs is what I'm saying. Baker Mayfield is not a bust. I think we need to stop this. He was hurt this past year. He was an offensive rookie of the year candidate in 2018. He broke the the quarterback rookie records in that season before Justin Herbert came along. Obviously, he doesn't have any Pro Bowls to his name. And over this past year, he had a 17-13 touchdown interception ratio. The year before, the year before his playoff year, he threw 21 picks, was in the league lead for that.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, I think if you put talent around him, and I'm not saying that he hasn't had talent, I think you just need a hit at the right time. And what I mean by that is not having him hurt, not having him have a torn labrum and have him play for, the majority of the season, because that's the type of guy who Baker Mayfield is. His biggest enemy is himself and wanting to play through injury, because he has to be that guy, because he's a leader, a natural born leader at heart. I still think there's a lot of potential in Baker Mayfield. I still think the best is yet to come. And I think we just have to wait a little bit. He has that leadership mentality. He has that dog mentality that you want out of your quarterback. And that sort of emulates around the whole locker room. Didn't really with Odell Beckham, didn't work towards the end there. But I think you get him another wide receiver. He made Donovan Peoples-Jones look really good this past year. Or maybe you could say the reverse. Donovan Peoples-Jones made Baker Mayfield look really good this year. I still think there's a lot of potential. I'm not saying Baker's a bust just yet.
I agree and disagree. I think that because of all of the guys that you just listed that they picked prior to him that didn't end up working out, Baker Mayfield is not a bust for the Browns. But Baker Mayfield would be a bust on literally any other NFL team in the league, in my opinion. If they picked him and they got – it's so tough because you say like, well, let's see him with a talented team. But I feel like we've seen him with a talented team because we were coming into we were talking about last year, the Browns being one of the most talented teams in the league, talking about Super Bowl hopes for them and stuff like that. And I feel like up to this point, we've talked about it several times, he feels like one of the biggest factors holding them back, because it feels like most of the other position groups on that team are pretty solid, are putting them in a better position to win. Mm-hmm. And then Baker Mayfield is that guy that's going out and he's winning them some games, but he is also losing them some games in my opinion. Now, with that, like you said, he was hurt all year. He was dealing with a hurt shoulder. And, when you got to throw the ball, a hurt shoulder is not easy to deal with. So I think that I'm willing to give Baker Mayfield another shot. And I've been saying that they should hold on to him for another year and, see what you can get out of him and see if he does improve after getting healthy and everything. So I will say that Buster Mayfield.
Buster Mayfield.
I was going to say, but I was going to say, I will give Baker Mayfield a little bit of time, but I think that he is very much so heading in the direction of bust, in my opinion.
That's fair.
It's tough because he's had 2 really great seasons and he's had 2 not so great seasons. Now, This year he got injured in literally week 2. That's when the shoulder injury happened. So, and it seemed pretty bad. And I know Baker is like the ultimate competitor. That's something you can't doubt about him. He's competitive as hell. He's been doubted his whole life and he's proven literally everybody wrong. So the competitor in him didn't want him to shut his season down. And I think he knew what that team was capable of. And I think as he gets older, he'll realize as he matures a little more, which I think he has matured a little bit. As he matures a little more, I think he'll realize, like, am I really putting the team in the best situation to succeed if I'm playing right now with this injury? And I think he needs to realize that he wasn't. The best thing for him and for the team at that point was to listen, take some games off, get healthy. This is what happened with, I know it's a terrible thing to compare it to, but this is Peyton Manning's last season. Peyton Manning was playing with a foot injury for most of that season. And he was god awful. He was just atrocious. Like that was not the Peyton Manning we were used to seeing.
Well, he was also 60 years old. But.
Yeah. But I put it in like the year before that, he wasn't that bad. Like the year before that, you could see like decline, but he was still good. Like he was still good. So Brock Osweiler finally he literally Peyton Manning got benched after throwing like an NFL record completion or something. So that's how bad he was. So Peyton Manning gets benched. Brock Osweiler comes in. Brock Osweiler has a nice run. Peyton Manning gets healthy. He gets the foot looked at, comes back for the playoffs and plays pretty well. Like he wasn't like out of this world, but you could tell that the injury was significantly, conflicting his play. Like it was affecting it a lot. Yeah. Like there's a reason Peyton Manning won the AFC Championship game against Tom Brady. It's the reason he won the Super Bowl. Like he didn't have to do much because that defense, but he did his job. He did his job and he did it pretty damn well. So that's what I think happened with Baker Mayfield. I think it was a situation like that where he should have been shut down, but he's just the ultimate competitor and didn't want to be. And listen, we're talking about Baker Mayfield's this being one of his worst seasons. 2 years ago, he had a 20 interception season. Yeah. And so him playing poorly, I think he's improved greatly in the fact that his poorest season now is not even close to how bad it was 2 years ago. So there's that. And I think like you can't deny what we saw in the playoffs against the Chiefs, in the playoffs against Steelers, just that year in general in 2020, what Baker did. I mean, for the second
very well could have ended up in the AFC Championship.
100%. He had that team in that game. He did. He put his heart and soul into that game. Like the second half of the season, I believe Baker Mayfield was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And I don't think that's crazy to say at that point. He was just on a roll. He's accurate as hell when he's doing his best. So I don't think he could be a bust just because we've seen the best. We've seen him consistently be good. Like that his rookie year, he was consistently good pretty much every game. Second year, all right, things got bad. Then third year, we come out and for like 10 weeks in a row, he's one of the best quarterbacks in football. Third year, he gets injured. He didn't like this year. He didn't really. Can we really judge him because he didn't have a chance to play healthy? Like the first game,
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this was clear. If he comes back next year, I think this is good on the Browns for just I think they picked up his 5th-year option, I believe. Yeah. I think they did. Yeah. This is good on the Browns for him. Picking up his 5th-year option and just waiting. Because this is a huge year for Baker Mayfield. This is going to be when the arguments get settled. Because he's had the good years. He's had the bad years. Now we need to see, okay, we know you're going to be healthy going into next year. You don't have the, locker room beef with Odell. Odell's finally gone. So whatever disconnect that you guys had, that's gone. We all know he statistically usually plays better without Odell, which is crazy. So you don't have that anymore. I agree with you, Luke. Donovan Peoples-Jones actually came onto the scene pretty good last year, which is crazy. Is it just crazy? I'm going off the rails here. Baker Mayfield plays better with lesser receivers.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
It is weird.
Yeah.
Like I know quarterback receiver connection is like a real thing.
Yeah.
But it is very odd that's not a knock at those guys or anything like that because I mean they look very good, but for them to be so young and not have really proven anything yet and then them do the things that they've done with him, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think if the Browns ever get a chance to go and get Hollywood Brown from the Ravens, which I don't know if they ever would.
That would be interesting.
That would be very interesting.
Because their guy, Jahan Dotson.
Jahan Dotson would be his type of receiver.
Yeah. Jarvis Landry is looking like he's gonna get the boot this offseason.
Jahan Dotson, he's not the tallest guy in the world. Insane, great route runner, fast as hell, great hands. He's a gritty guy. He'll fight for every yard.
Oh, he could gritty?
Yeah. He might grade. Yeah, I don't know.
How's his grading game?
I don't know if he can grade. I know that's an important question now with NFL receivers. Like that's
they're adding that to the combine this year. Actually,
yeah, I think they should. I think they should. Can you grade?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Baker's a bust. I don't think we have enough information to answer that question because right now he's had 2 seasons on both sides of his. We've had 2 seasons where he's clearly not a bust. He's clearly the answer at quarterback for the Browns. And then we've had 2 seasons where, holy shit, what's going on here? They might have just drafted a bust again. So like, it's completely split down the middle at this point for me. And we just got to see.
That's why I'm giving him a little extra time. But my biggest concern, I feel like, is that because of that rookie year where he was like an offensive rookie of the year candidate rather. I feel like he came into the NFL at a pretty high level, a higher level than a lot of rookie quarterbacks do. I'm just worried that he hasn't improved at all from that.
Yeah.
I'm worried that he came in as a good rookie and now he's turned from a good rookie into a decent starter. You know what I mean?
Especially from what you've seen from other quarterbacks in the 2018 draft. Baker Mayfield's drafted number 1 overall. Lamar wins the MVP the following season, and then Josh Allen's rise to stardom.
That's a knock for him against
Sam
for
Darnold,
me as well.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen.
Gone on to do insane things.
Yeah.
Josh Rosen, another one.
Yeah, and that's something I'm considering here as well, is that, I mean, with him being drafted as high as he was, it's tough.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I think it's a wait and see on Baker Mayfield. I don't think everybody should.
I think he gets too much hate.
He does, just because of his personality, just because
the commercials. I feel like how much the Browns have gotten like sort of hyped up the past couple of years too. Like, oh my gosh, we have Myles Garrett and now we have Odell Beckham Jr. Now, we're having success. We're going to win the Super Bowl. Like, I feel like it's their fan base a little bit too.
Before they were an easy target because they were so bad. Now they're an easy target because everybody expects them to be a lot better than they end up.
Yes.
Let me just put this out there. Baker thrives on hate, like throughout his entire career. Like he is just every doubter he has proven like wrong with a vengeance.
Send him to the Knicks.
When did his best season happen? Honestly, his 3rd season was his best season. 26-8. Went to the playoffs, won a playoff game for the Browns for the first time in fucking forever. When did that happen? That happened after a pretty atrocious season.
Yes.
Where people were like, oh my God, his rookie year was a fluke. We just got another one of those seasons where people were like, what the hell happened here? I think Baker comes out with a vengeance this year, and he has a lot of people to shut the hell up. And like,
he's seeing all these people talk highly of these other quarterbacks that were taken about the same time as him. He's seeing what Joe Burrow is doing in Cincinnati. He knows that he was injured. I think he's going to come into the season angry. It's just about what he does with that anger.
If he doesn't, though, their fans are going to turn on him, sort of like Carson Wentz in Philly. Yeah.
Carson Wentz is a great analogy there because that's exactly what's going to happen.
I want Baker in New York in a New York Giants jersey. Really, I really do.
You think the Giants would take him?
I feel like if he doesn't perform great this year, and they're sort of picking between maybe drafting the guy, getting a Baker Mayfield on a low contract, or Daniel Jones even. Fuck it, throw some money at Baker Mayfield. We're throwing money at Kenny Galladay to just sit on his couch and not do anything. So might as well.
That's fair.
Hire me. Yeah, put me at quarterback.
Yeah, seriously. What the fuck? Luke for QB. All right. Let's move on to another one here. This one's interesting. Will Fuller. And this is an interesting one. So Gage, I want to know why you put him on here.
This was one of the ones that Sped did have, and I feel like for good reason. Will Fuller has had very high highs. I mean, we've seen him do some amazing things in his time with the Texans and stuff like that. At a time where DeAndre Hopkins was on the team, like we've seen Will Fuller produce very well in some instances, but we just haven't seen Will Fuller much beyond that. You know what I mean? When he's on the field, he looks like a great receiver. It's just about keeping him on the field, and that is very concerning. And then he moves to the Dolphins, and we expect him to play. He faces a suspension, and then he's injured. And then you draft a guy like Jalen Waddle, who is performing very, very well, and you start to take into consideration, like, maybe we don't need this guy. Maybe we don't need Will Fuller because we've got a great receiver in Waddle. We've got Mike Gesicki, who is a free agent who could potentially move, but they've got some pieces that it's like, is it really worth trying to keep Will Fuller around? For me personally, just because of the sheer amount of injuries and stuff like that, and the very little that we've seen him perform on the field, I think he's a bust. I would say he is.
I'm leaning more towards bust, but when you think about it, like drafted 21st overall in the first round, he's been pretty much a solid number 2 receiver his entire career. So if you think about it, like, would you take a solid number 2 receiver at pick 21 in the first round? Maybe, maybe not, depending on the team. Probably
first
not.
round pick, though.
Yeah, probably not. Like if it was anywhere, higher than 20, then it's very questionable. But I think it's like, it's a playoff team's draft pick. So maybe not. Yeah. I mean, his best season came last year, and he had just over 800 yards, 879 yards. He only started 11 games, which is pretty impressive, but he did play in 15, just didn't start in 4 of them. But yeah, just injuries and then off the field issues as well, including suspensions. Yeah, we're probably looking at a bust here. No, he's just never going to be that number 1 guy. I remember the Packers there were some trade rumors this past year that they were going to trade, or no, last year that they were going to trade for him.
He was a big name in free agency.
He was.
He goes to the Dolphins and then just doesn't do anything.
He was.
Yeah, he was coming off his best season before he signed with the Dolphins. He only played 11 games. Again, he's never played more than 14 games in his career. He played 11 games, 53 catches, 879 yards, and 8 touchdowns. So like, I think this is another situation. Nobody's doubting Will Fuller's talent. Like the talent's always been there, and it's always shown up when he's played, but it's just, he's like the ultimate situation of, can you keep him on the field? Because you haven't been able to.
Yeah.
You just haven't been able to keep him on the field. He has very teeny pencil-like legs, and that doesn't exactly help. I'm sorry, Will Fuller. I know you're fast as hell and you're a talented receiver, but the legs don't look like they're that sturdy. I'm sorry. And they've kind of proven not to be. So this guy is talented as hell. Can he be a number 1 receiver? I don't think he was drafted to be. I think the whole point the Texans drafted him was to be that compliment.
He was drafted.
DeAndre Hopkins.
He was drafted with Braxton Miller, right? That was the same draft.
Yeah, he was drafted like in the 20s or so of that draft out of Notre Dame. So right there, not a good start. But listen, it sucks. I hate when we have to call somebody a bust because of injuries, because it's just not fair. But I would put the bust label on him just because he's such an unknown. Like, he can do great things for your team, but you got to plan for him being there for 10 games. You can't plan for him being there all 17.
Yeah. He's just getting to the point where teams are losing faith in him, and that's what is making him a bust.
Yeah. But for those 10 games, he's going to be great for you. He's going to be great for you. But it's just, can he stay an entire season? So I think this is another big season for Will Fuller. Yeah. Just because he did not start out pretty. It didn't start out pretty in Miami. He played like 3 games. That's like 4 catches for 26 yards. So that's ridiculous. So it's a wait and see, but it's not looking good. I would definitely more label him towards bust now than a successful draft pick.
Yeah.
All right. This is the second one I didn't appreciate. Jamal Adams. Gage, you want to explain yourself here for the first team All-Pro, Jamal Adams?
But he's flame. I didn't put him on the list just necessarily.
You picked him. You said it.
This is your fault, Gage.
Yeah. What the hell, Gage?
Yeah. But I can understand why there's a conversation here, because Jamal Adams tends to be a very hated player in the league, which I personally think is unwarranted. Okay. And no, I don't think Jamal Adams is a bust. I think that he did fantastic things with the Jets. It didn't work out because the Jets are bums. They are constantly just bottom tier, and Jamal Adams was looking to move on. The Jets, I think, were looking to more so kind of rebuild, which they're in the middle of now, and it's looking like they're heading towards something good in the future. Jamal Adams ends up in Seattle, and I know a lot of people are calling him a linebacker. He's blitz boy now and stuff like that. He had a great season last season. I think that he did exactly what they needed him to do. We've talked about it in the past, where it's like, even though he was playing more of a linebacker position, he was playing it very, very well. And that shows how versatile he is. He's not necessarily the best in coverage, but when you see other guys at the safety position, who, like Budda Baker, isn't necessarily the best in coverage, but he's one of the best tackling safeties in the league. Yeah. So he still adds value to a team. Jamal Adams, I don't think is bust by any means. I think that he deserves the praise that he gets. I don't think that he earns a lot of the hate that he gets. And I think that he'll continue to build on that throughout his career.
Bust. I don't know. I don't think he's a bust. I'm just playing, but I will say, drafted him to be a safety. It's weird with Jamal Adams because I feel like he's sort of similar to Jonathan Abram, not in like players. Obviously, Jamal Adams is way better, but sort of in the way that they're hard to place on the field.
Yeah,
a little bit because not quite big enough where you always want him in the middle of the field like you would want a Bobby Wagner or a Denzel Perryman on the Raiders, but you can't really put him back deep because he's a liability in coverage. By the way, shout out Jamal Adams for getting his first interception of his career this year on the one and only fucking Aaron Rodgers in the end zone. Who would have thought that? You were at that game, Gage?
I
saw that
firsthand. In person. Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's history right there. You should have caught that caught that on camera. Got to put it on an NFT on your.
When I go to games,
chain.
things just happen. Justin Tucker misses extra points. Jamal Adams picks people off. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy. I'm not going to say he's a bust as much as I'd like to. I just think he's not put in. He's not a strong safety. I don't think he's a strong safety. He's a box linebacker.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd call him. I think he's good for that reason. If you want to say he's a bust just purely because he's not a safety, go ahead. I'm not going to say that, but I don't think he is necessarily a strong safety, coverage safety. You know what I mean?
I want to hear what you have to say, Jake, but I also want to say after you finish, I do have something to add.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely not a bust. Yes, he was taken 6th overall. And yes, it's the whole interception thing. He did have 2 interceptions this year, which is respectable.
It's back-to-back games, wasn't it? Or was
Yeah, it was. It was like 2 and 3 games or something like that. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But
highlight of the Seahawks season.
Yeah. I don't think you could be a 3-time All-Pro, 1-time first-team All-Pro, and 3-time Pro Bowler and be called a bust. Like that just can't happen. I'm sorry. And nobody was having this conversation when he was on the Jets. You know why everybody was
no one was talking about the Jets.
That's true. That's true. But that's fair. It's a fair point. But he was talked about as the best safety in football when he was on the Jets. Like that was the one talking point of the Jets. Like it was pretty unanimous. Like, okay, Jamal Adams definitely in that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because he was Greg Williams' system when he was on the Jets. He found a place for him. He found a spot. He found out how to use Jamal Adams properly. And when you figure out, it's kind of like Minkah Fitzpatrick when he was on the Dolphins. Minkah Fitzpatrick was one of Nick Saban's favorite players ever. And Nick Saban is the greatest college football, one of the greatest defensive minds of all time. Mm-hmm. So when this guy is like held to that standard, like, holy shit, this was just like one of his favorite guys. And he just wasn't putting up those stats in Miami. You're like, something's wrong here. Then he gets put in Pittsburgh and holy shit, it's like a rebirth. It's like a rebirth of Minkah Fitzpatrick. Why? Because when you get these guys that are so talented that can do so many things, and yes, I get Jamal Adams can't catch. There's a lot of safeties that can't catch. Okay, it's not their main thing. It's more of a corner's job. When you get these guys that are so uber talented and can do so many things, it's tough to put them in a box. No pun intended with box safety. It is. It's tough to be like, well, what do I want to do with him? Do I want to put him in this situation? Then he can't do this. Do I want to put him? The Seahawks have kind of realized like they're never going to get out of him what Greg Williams got out of him. They started to, but they took some things and are like, okay, what can we get out of him? And they're like, we need pass rush. And guess what? Jamal Adams can do fucking everything. He can do everything. That's why it's so hard to put him in the box. So they're like, if we can put this guy on the line and he's going to get us 9.5 sacks, why the hell wouldn't we? Like, that's kind of ridiculous. Like, everybody's like, oh, he's blitz boy. You're calling a guy who's getting sacks and affecting the play of the other team.
Went away from it this year.
I know. He did go away from it this year. I think, but then again, he still had, what do you have? 6.5. No, he didn't have any sacks this year. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So they didn't line him up as much and I think teams were more expecting it this year. Mm-hmm. So that also didn't play in his favor, but yeah, he doesn't do great in coverage because he's a strong safety. Strong safeties don't really do great in coverage. That's not the main reason they're there. They're meant to be the big hitters. They're meant to hit downhill. Is what Cam Chancellor was.
Adrian Amos best coverage grade last year.
Penn Stater, shout out. But yeah, listen, not all strong safeties with guys that are able to hit like him. Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, when you have those box safeties, sometimes you play them at safety. You have to, because that's the position that they fit into on your scheme. But you're going to play him more close to the line. That's what Jamal Adams plays. He's not put in a lot of coverage situations. So when he is in coverage, it's not going to be pretty, but he did get 2 picks this year. So listen, Jamal Adams is a great player. I think the Seahawks need to figure out how to use him better. And we have a new defensive coordinator this year, Clint Hurt, who's our defensive line coach. And we did sign the Sean Desai, who was, I don't know who he was, as a defensive assistant. He was defensive coordinator for maybe the Bears. I don't know, but I have a lot of reason to believe that there's a lot of smart defensive minds coming into the team. Ken Norton Jr. is finally gone. Thank God. Oh my God. Thank God that he's gone. He was fucking atrocious. Great linebackers coach. Can't coordinate a defense for shit though. But yes, I have reason to believe that this will be a better defense. We have a lot of smart defensive minds using Jamal Adams now. And I just don't think the Seahawks have had somebody that can do everything. Like they had people, the Legion of Boom was very much like Earl Thomas was an amazing free safety. And that's all he did. He was a great free safety. He did everything a free safety could do. Cam Chancellor, prototypical strong safety, could lay the boom on everybody and could cover decent.
Yeah.
But Bobby Wagner, terrific middle linebacker. He can cover, he can hit, he can blitz. They have these guys that are great at what they do. They've never had a guy that can do everything and be great at it. So that's kind of the situation where you kind of got to pick one, but a good defensive coordinator will learn how to use all of it. And that's what Greg Williams did, even though Greg Williams is a very controversial guy. I think they're starting to figure out how to use him. Hopefully they find that happy medium this year, because he got no sacks this year and he got almost damn near 10 the other year. Hopefully they find that happy medium, because this is what he was doing on the Jets. He was having like 3-4 sacks, but also having a shit ton of tackles. He had like a pick. He would force some fumbles. Like he was doing everything.
Is Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams a top 3 safety duo in the league?
I believe they are. Quandre is one of the most underrated guys in the league. Quandre is a terrific free safety. Terrific free safety. So I have no doubt that our safeties are good, and I hope they figure out a way to use Jamal Adams better this year, because he does get too much hate.
Yeah, Jamal Adams is like, if they, and this isn't the point that I wanted to make, this is something different, but Jamal Adams is like last year, that'd be like if you had Lamar Jackson and you only ran him all the time. Like it's effective, but it's not all that he can do, and it's not all that you want him to do when you have a guy like that. And then this year, you could say Lamar Jackson isn't quite as good at passing, just like Jamal Adams isn't quite as good in pass coverage. Yeah. And they put him in that situation a lot more and completely took him away from running. You need to marry the two. You need to find a way to put him in both situations, and I think that he'll perform a lot better. But what I wanted to bring up is to kind of tie it into another sport, or to make you think about it a little bit differently. Does Jamal Adams almost kind of feel like Russell Westbrook in a way, where you add him to a team and he doesn't necessarily destroy it, and he has some things that he's very good at and he adds to the team, but it is very difficult to incorporate him with the other pieces of that team and make it work?
I don't think so. I think it's a tough analogy, because Russell Westbrook kind of puts up like he's going to put up stats, but he needs Jamal Adams. Listen, I feel like I don't know, because he was super effective. Like Russell Westbrook puts up stats and he's not as effective. Like it's not really, it's empty calories what Russell Westbrook did in OKC. Like it was like the team was doing decent, and he was putting up all these amazing stats, but it wasn't like leading to a bunch of wins. It wasn't like he does the most of what he can. Like in football, it's different, because like one guy is not going to, unless it's the quarterback, he's not going to affect the outcome of a game. He can only do so much.
Aaron Donald.
Yes. You get those special players. And I think Jamal Adams is special if used correctly.
It's just about using him correctly.
Yes. And I think this is what Pete Carroll does. This is what I've learned, because why did Pete Carroll throw it on the 1 yard line? I know I always try to avoid this topic, and I'm the one bringing it up now. Why did Pete Carroll throw on the 1 yard line? I'm going to tell you why he threw it on the 1 yard line. Because this was it was a topic that was brought up in like Seahawks, like Twitter. And it's kind of like, if you know Pete Carroll, you kind of think like, oh yeah, this is something he would do. everything you hear about Pete Carroll, he's a tremendous players coach. He cares about his players so much. They all love him, besides Earl Thomas at the end there. But he's very much for the players. Like, the players love playing for him, and he cares about the players so much. At the time of that Super Bowl, Russell Wilson was really not getting the respect he deserved because everybody was saying the defense was carrying him to these Super Bowls. The defense was carrying him. Like, he's a game manager. You know, he doesn't have to do a lot. He's not a top 10 quarterback. Like, these were the conversations that were being had at that time. If Russell Wilson would have threw that touchdown, he would have been named Super Bowl MVP. Without a doubt. He would have been the Super Bowl MVP that year. That's why I think Pete Carroll made it a pass. And I, low-key in my brain, right before that play, I knew that. I knew Russell Wilson would have been named Super Bowl MVP if he had one more touchdown on his stat sheet that day. And I was like, gee, I hope they throw it here. I said that to myself. I said that in my head. I was like, I hope they throw it so Russell gets Super Bowl MVP because he wasn't getting the respect he deserved. Pete Carroll definitely heard. He's very aware of the media. He definitely heard the shit he was getting. Jamal Adams was getting this offseason about his pass coverage and about Blitz Boy. And what happened this year? The incredible over-adjustment. He didn't get any. He was barely blitzing. He was putting pass coverage way more than he should have been because Pete Carroll likes to make those points for his players. He likes to be like, here, go out there and prove them wrong. And it's like at some point, like, just be a coach. Just do what's best for the team. Don't do what's best for the player. Okay. Because it's
Marshawn Lynch would have won MVP if he ran it in.
He might have.
I think he would have.
He probably would have. And Pete didn't want that. And Pete didn't want that because he wanted Russell Wilson to be like,
he didn't want a Super Bowl.
People to know. Yeah, he wanted people to know that Russell Wilson could be this guy.
I don't know the exact stats, and I may be incorrect about this, but I feel like I read somewhere that you guys were not good at running in those situations. Like,
we weren't.
That season. And that's why a lot of people think that you guys went away from it and tried to pass instead.
Yeah, and I guess you have to go towards Vince Wilfork and
like let's be real here. Like, who was it? It was fucking Dante Hightower made a phenomenal play at the 1 yard line to keep Marshawn Lynch out of the end zone. And Seahawks have been pretty bad that year. I think they were terrible at converting on the 1 yard line running the ball. And the Patriots had a really good D line. And like in Russell Wilson's top 100 players that offseason, Luke Kuechly, the first thing that popped up was Luke Kuechly breaking down the play in the Super Bowl. And Luke Kuechly, one of the brightest minds in football history. He was like, he said it straight out. Nobody references this though. Nobody talks about this though. Luke Kuechly literally went, this is a play that people run all the time on the 1 yard line. This is a very commonly called play. He's like, I know they were very unsuccessful that year in running on the 1 yard line. Like, this play, like, it wasn't crazy. This wasn't a crazy call. Like, I know, like, it's just one of those things. It's not that we can, like, in hindsight, we can look back and be like, okay, that play call sucked. If it worked, we never talk about it. If it worked, we never talk about it again.
It's easy to look at it as like, they have these players.
Yeah.
They should be able to make this play. But when the Seahawks are in that situation, they're looking at the whole scope of the season, what they've been successful at and what they haven't been. And it's understandable why they made the decision they made, but it's easy to pick at and make fun of.
Yeah, because it was the clear reason as to why they lost. You know what I mean? And shout out Jermaine Kearse for that insane catch that he made to get the Seahawks in range to score that touchdown.
That'll be totally forgotten.
It never gets talked about because of what happened next. Yeah. And listen, it was just, let's be real. Like, in that situation with how tight the end zone is, there's a reason, like, it's hard. It's hard to pick the ball in that situation. It's hard to catch the ball. That's why offenses don't like to throw it in those situations because there's not much space to work with. Same for the defense. Yeah. So Malcolm Butler, I'll always say this. Bill Belichick's a genius. He knew the Seahawks were not successful running the ball on the 1 yard line all year. And he's like, listen, they're probably going to pass in this situation. This is something that's commonly called across the league. This might be a play that they go to. And he ran it again in practice. And it just happened to be the play that the Seahawks went to. Malcolm Butler made a phenomenal play on the ball. That's what happened in that situation.
All I know is Aaron Rodgers and the Packers dog walk the fucking Patriots if they make it to the Super Bowl. If it wasn't for Brandon Bostic, that's all I know. Just going back to that. Yeah, they would dog walk them. They did in the regular season there. Going back to the Russ thing.
We'll never see it.
Yeah, we'll never
So
see
too
it.
bad we'll never see it. Just
We'll
like the
never
Saints
see Aaron
against the
Rodgers, Tom
Patriots.
Brady. Yeah,
Exactly. Going back to the Russ comparison, Jamal Adams isn't making $44 million and is the demise of his. So no, don't love that one, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he deserved the contract extension. Speaking of his money, though, he got 4 years, 70 mil. I think he deserved it. I don't think that was bad. I don't look at the team and go, oh, Jamal Adams is making this team so much worse. No, first of all, he's a phenomenal leader. He can galvanize an entire defense. He's great that way. He's constantly encouraging people. So he's a great presence in the locker room. He's not detrimental in any way.
I think he deserved it, but it's tough because of the Seahawks situation.
Yeah.
He deserved it, but it's also hard to afford it, you know?
Yes, it is. And I hope the Seahawks invest more in offensive line, but I don't look at this team and go, Jamal Adams is the reason we're bad. I think Jamal Adams is a reason why the defense is good. I don't look at him as a detriment in any way.
Yeah.
I don't. So
and that's how I feel.
Kinda,
I didn't say it, but that's how I feel about it too. The Russell Westbrook thing I just thought was interesting, but I feel the same way. I don't think that he's like causing them to lose or anything like that.
Yes, I agree. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of the Totally Unqualified Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We really do appreciate it. Gage, Luke, if you guys want to have any closing thoughts, Gage, will start with you.
Yeah, if you guys aren't following us on our other socials or anything like that, be sure to do so. I'm Extra Points. Jake is Jake_Maltese3, and Luke is Football Fan Zone. And we're putting out content on our TikToks and stuff like that constantly. Sped is pumping out content on the IG, the Instagram all the time. Jake goes crazy on Twitter sometimes, so you definitely want to witness that. So follow us on our personal socials, our Totally Unqualified socials. Anywhere you can follow us, be sure to do it.
Yeah, make sure to leave us a rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as downloading the Overtime app and joining just any weekly fantasy pool. Like I said earlier in the episode, they're going to have a lot of new content coming out throughout March Madness, college basketball. A lot of things are coming on the horizon. The draft, like the NFL draft.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things on the horizon for Overtime and the Overtime app. So make sure to download that using any of the links in our bios. Real quick shout out to Logan Paul, who's making his WWE debut at WrestleMania, who is wrestling. I just got that update on my phone. It's time to drink some tequila. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. Oh geez. All right. That's gonna do it for this episode, guys. We'll see you in the next one.